Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, colleagues. I didn't plan to speak at all today, but I do feel it's my duty as the youngest woman in this body to stand up today and join this discussion. I am grateful that we're having this debate and have relatively steered clear of the political side because I do think we need an apolitical discussion on our current procedures in the body. And I'd just like to provide some thoughts on the context of the process we're working through. Senator Pansing Brooks raised Senator Keene's efforts with LB 1099 in 2018 to create an independent ethics committee, which would have saved us from the convoluted process we currently have. LB 1099 was brought before the executive board for consideration, where opposition to it was led by former Senator Bowles, who edited the current standing policy during that interim, which I clearly believe does not serve anyone well, especially staff. You can, if you don't want to take my word for it, just go through and look at the committee transcript. You can see the debate word for word. I rise today, and I really do think it's rich that some of this debate on the treatment of staff is being led by Senator Michaela Cavanaugh, who in 2020 threw a stack of papers and swore at a member of my staff on the floor. She was there to assist me with the bill under consideration. So when we're looking at misconduct within this body, we all need to take a long look in the mirror at our own actions before we take the moral high ground and pretend that we're holier than thou. That process was handled according to a policy set forward by the executive board. I'm grateful for the leadership of Senator Hughes in following the policy as written, but it's clear the policy needs to be overhauled. I'm willing to help with that overhaul, using Senator Keene's ethics committee framework to better protect our staff. Early on, when I got into politics at age 22 in Nebraska, I was groped at a political event by someone who was not a member of this body and not a current or former office holder. I buried it because I'd gone through a worse trauma in college and tried to minimize it, just as I tried to minimize it when I've been touched inappropriately on this floor and in committee by members of this body. And most of you were on the floor when a member who, on the mic, talked about raping me on the floor of the legislature. That doesn't even get to the rape threats, the death threats, and sexual comments directed towards me on social media. Our policies definitely don't protect staff, and they definitely don't protect female senators. There is a process to censure and expel members of this body for misconduct, but according to the written policy, that is the only recourse that female senators have if they ever do go through something either on the floor or in committee. You know, I don't talk about it that often, and at most times I really don't come forward when it happens. Senator DeBoer got to this point pretty well. It's because as a young female, you worry that it's going to be the thing that defines you. Journalists reach out and push stories wanting to know details on things that you're coping with, and getting the most hits and clicks on a story that have nothing to do with how I'm doing my job. The bills I'm supporting, the ways I'm serving my district, nope. Just about whatever way someone has tried to paint me as a victim this session. To any female working in this building, just know I stand with you as an ally in the fight against sexual harassment. I'm all in. Let's fix this policy with the framework proposed by Senator Keene with an ethics committee. I think our leadership is doing it. Thank you, Mr. President. I think our leadership is doing a good job of following the policy as written. But it's clear that these policies need to change, and they needed to change years ago. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Vargas.
Thank you very much. I will keep this brief, largely because, and well, quite honestly, I've been listening, and I think we've all been listening, and I think it's a more important time for our female colleagues to express everything that needs to be said and also that we need to hear. Honestly, the only reason I'm rising is because I serve as a member of the executive board and I serve as the vice chair, and I wanted to make sure that people heard from me as one individual person, not placing blame on anybody or any institution or entity, that I am committed to working through our existing internal policies and procedures to address this.